All right, welcome everybody to Tumor Talk. We are going to talk about brain tumors. Each of us have had a brain tumor. We've had surgery. We've done recovery. I'm still kind of in recovery, but we're trying to make the most of it. I was diagnosed with a brain tumor in November of 2025, and I had surgery on November 20th. I think I was diagnosed on November 12th and had surgery on the 20th. And I only spent 4 days in the hospital, which I'm kind of proud of because I don't like hospitals. So got out of there fast, and I've been recovering well. My mentality has shifted. We're going to talk about that. I'm still limited. I still can't lift more than 10 pounds, but I got my staples out yesterday, which I'm grateful for. And I meet with my oncology team on Thursday and Friday. So there's a lot coming, but it's not going to last forever. So trying to make the most of it every day at a time.
My name's Will Steinauer. I was uh, diagnosed with a brain tumor in like October of 2020. Around then, I was going to the University of Kansas. I was in the third year of a 5-year master's program of architecture. I woke up one day for class and I had kind of like a double vision thing, and I went to student health. They didn't know what was going on, obviously. So then I went to an ophthalmologist in town, and he ordered an MRI for me, and my double vision subsided, and I was back home for fall break, I believe, and I got my MRI in Omaha. My mom was driving me back home from my MRI, and I got a call from the ophthalmologist down in Kansas, and he told me I had what was called a cavernous malformation, which is just like a vascular buildup, vascular tumor. And so it was blocking my uh, fourth ventricle from draining my CSF. So they had to do an emergency surgery and do a procedure called an endoscopic third ventriculoscopy, which basically means they just poked a hole in the third ventricle of my brain so that the fluid could drain out and my cranial pressure would go down. I went down to the Barrow Institute in Phoenix, Arizona to have my cavernous malformation removed, and they ran pathology on it and discovered that it was cancer. And so that was in January of 2021. And then I came back to Omaha for some chemo treatments, and they um, ended up having some brain bleeds, which is typical with my tumor, which was choriocarcinoma. So I had to start radiation immediately, and then they wanted me to do proton radiation. So I had to go down to MD Anderson for a month and get proton beam radiation down there. And came back to a couple more rounds of chemo, and then was uh, confirmed cancer free. And I've been in remission since then. And that's where we are right now.
How long did chemo last for you?
I think it was only like a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Because it wasn't consecutive. It was kind of interrupted by the brain bleeds and then
Mm-hmm.
the radiation and that stuff.
Okay. What do you remember about those 2 weeks?
Uh, this was during COVID, so I remember feeling very alone in the hospital because um, visitation hours were very limited, and I really could only have my immediate family in there with me. And um, that was great because I'm very close with all of my siblings and my parents, and so
Mm-hmm.
that was nice to have their love and support there. And it sucked, and I was nauseous all the time and sleepy as hell.
Mm.
And but they kind of got me through it and on to the next step.
Yeah. How long did so from when you were diagnosed to when you were cancer free, do you remember how long of like a period that was?
Um, yeah, so I was diagnosed in January of 21, and then my last um, treatment with chemo was on July 5th of 21.
Okay.
So a couple.
So pretty quick.
Yeah.
all things considered.
Yeah. Definitely.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, today is going to be our first episode. So, like, we're still learning how to do this. This is new to us, but we want to put our stories out there. I think we both find that important to share what we're going through because if we can share our stories, people can learn from it and then people can apply that or try to learn from us and do things a certain way that maybe we didn't do correctly or we wish we did differently. So, if we share our stories, other people can learn and apply that in their lives. And that's kind of our goal here. Um, I do want to talk about something interesting. Me and Will went to the same grade school, same middle school, same high school, but we went our different ways in college. And yeah, it's just really weird to think about someone that you went to school for so many years with also struggle with the same thing, well, similar thing. So yeah, it's just a little bit crazy. And I was talking to an emergency room doctor a couple days ago. We got coffee, and he told me, there's something called radon in Nebraska. It's at higher levels. It just naturally is. There's no human reasoning for that. It's just how it is that there's higher levels. It must be due to like an aquifer or something about where our state exactly lands that just makes us unlucky, I guess. And I told him, oh, that makes sense. Like I didn't have a radon fan, or like I lived in an old house, so like it makes sense that yeah, maybe I was more at risk for what this was. And he said, actually, no, like this affects everybody in the state. This is not just like a poor person thing or like a rich person thing. This is like everybody is generally affected by this. So it's something to be aware of. And there's research going on right now at the hospital about um, just like why cancer is in certain people, especially our age. Like we're young. If you don't know anything about cancer, it typically affects people that are older. So either we're incredibly unlucky or we are prime examples of something that's going wrong that is not understood right now. So we want to share our stories. We want to talk about our experiences.
I guess my understanding of background radiation from radon is that it's like the second leading cause of lung cancer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what the correlation between radon and brain cancer is,
I don't know either.
but that'd be something to maybe look into and
Yeah,
talk about next time.
for sure. And again, this came from like an emergency room doctor, so he didn't tell me all the details. I'm not even sure if they're understood, but like that's the general consensus is like brain cancer and radon. There's some overlap there, and I don't know what it is, but again, like we can do our research, we can figure it out. We're both educated in some regards, so we know how to like look into things and learn about them. But this changed both of our lives uh, immensely. Like we are now different people as a result. I think one thing Will said that I heavily agree with is a cancer diagnosis shows you who you are. It shows you how much strength you have, how much support you have, what your willpower is, how much you can push on in life, and what you're going to do with life. Especially me. Luckily, Will was not given, like, here's maybe your estimated lifespan. I'm glad that he wasn't, but I was, and that kind of kicked my ass into gear, to be honest. It showed me, like, okay, it's very possible that I don't have a full life to live here, so I need to, like, kick it into gear. I need to go. And I don't know how everybody else responds to that, but I know how I respond to it, and I kind of like get after it as hard as I can. So my mentality, I can't explain to you. I'll look at the camera doing its thing again. I can't explain to you why I got kicked into gear, but I did, and I'm making the most of it, and I think you guys see that. So we're starting this podcast together because our stories are so rare. Mine is 4 in 100,000, and well, what's yours again?
Well, my type of cancer, choriocarcinoma, is typically only found in expecting mothers. And so it was very unprecedented that they found it in my brain. I think my brother told me it was like, my brother is a doctor, by the way, and he's not just a random dude. He told me it was like 1 in 5 million or something crazy like that. I don't know. But
But yeah, like 4 in 100,000, that number in my head, I think if you watch my recent video, you'll know that I talked about like Memorial Stadium, add another 15,000 people and like pick four, and those four will get it. And then like Will's case is like, how do you even envision
yeah.
5 million people in a space and you pick one? Like those two things combined and compared to like where we've been in life and like how much overlap we have, something's not right. And we obviously don't know what the answer is or why that's the case, but like I think we're prime examples of like something isn't right, something isn't being tracked, something leads to cancer that isn't fully understood, and we are prime examples. And cancer fully isn't understood, honestly. Like as a whole, the medical research has done fantastic in the last 10, 20, 30 years. Like things are flying forward, things are moving fast, and AI is coming into the picture. So there's a lot of good things happening, but most cancer is not well understood, especially brain cancer. When you get a brain tumor, oftentimes it is fatal. It is not something you are cured from. Like you can be cured from it, and Will hopefully is. I hope he never struggles with it ever again. But it is not well understood. Tumors are not easily controlled. And I hope that changes. And you've heard me talk about this. You've heard me say, like, I think in the next 3.5 years with AI coming into the picture, like, I think progress is going to be made, and I'm not going to lose hope. I refuse to lose hope because what does losing hope do? Absolutely nothing. And that's my mentality. So we're both getting after it. We're trying to live good lives. And I think honestly, this is going to bring us closer together. Like we knew each other, we were friends, like growing up, but like not super close. But I think like starting a podcast and doing this together is going to help like us build a relationship and us like try to go after life a little bit. So that's where I'm at. What do you think about hospitals, by the way? Like the just being there at one.
I mean, I guess after my experience with cancer, I started working at the hospital I was a patient at, and so I've obviously gotten to understand it more than when I was a patient. But as a patient, it's just a hard place to be in, especially my experience was during COVID, and so
Like, do you mind getting jabbed? Do you mind getting woken up? Do you mind getting told about these important surgeries in the middle of the night? Like, what do you think about when you think about like that period of time in your life?
obviously being in a hospital is not fun. It's very uncomfortable for most people. I think as I got jabbed with needles more and more, I kind of gotten more used to it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not really an issue for me anymore. But
For sure.
it's definitely not fun for anyone.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys watched my video talking about my staple removal, but I brought headphones with me. I closed my eyes. This was all advice from that emergency room doctor, and I just like composed myself. And I was like, I've been told this doesn't hurt. I'm gonna tell myself it doesn't hurt, and it's not gonna last forever. Well, okay, I was going into it two different mentalities. One was this could take 90 minutes because I was told it could take 90 minutes, and I was like, it better not. And then the other one was like, I could see this taking like 3, 4, 5 minutes. I'm glad it was the second one because I don't think I could sit there for 90 minutes. But she told me I've never seen someone as calm as you, and I don't think she understood what I do for a living as a mental health counselor. A lot of my energy in this world is dedicated towards what I think about and what's going on in my head. Like that matters to me is like thinking positive things, thinking in ways that are going to help me, like dedicate my mentality towards myself because that is like where greatness comes from and that is like where I want to go. That's why I have big dreams. That's why I'm so confident is because like all of the work I've done in my life is to set me up for that, to be honest. So I think I'm starting to see that. I think people are starting to see that. I think people are starting to understand like where my head has been because I'm gonna make things happen and I'm gonna take people with me that matter to me. So get ready.
All right,
We could call it there, or do you want to keep yapping?
we can call it there.
Okay, cool.